Hey guys, welcome to another exciting episode of Éire's Epics in History. I'm your host, John Fisher. Today's video is going to be short compared to others, but we're still going to have some exciting content. I'm a bit tired and need to get to bed as soon as possible. That's why this video is going to be short, but don't worry, it's an exciting one. So yesterday we left off with the establishment of the first Éire. For those of you who don't remember, that's Irish for Ireland's assembly. And so basically, the year is 1919. And the first Éire is established on January 21st, 1919. And on that day, there's another significant event. There was an attack on an explosives convoy in County Tipperary. 2 constables were killed, the explosives were seized, and some historians considered that to be the launching point of the War of Independence in Ireland. Now, another significant event happened that year. The Irish volunteers changed their name to the IRA, the Irish Republican Army, which many of us know very well. But the Irish Republican Army decides to use military force to get what they want. They decide to use guerrilla force on military and policemen. So that was guerrilla force, not military force. Anyway, so basically, they are growing they are growing and expanding their military strength. And in the first few months, they're just out to seek arms and ammunition, but this eventually grows and expands as they grow and expand. And they actually get help from the United States, where Éamon de Valera, we talked about him, is a frequent visitor in 1919 and 1920. Now, the British try at first to use a policy of partial containment to fight against the IRA, but it doesn't work. And the War of Independence is costing the British taxpayers £26 million a year. And so Lloyd George, the Prime Minister at the time of Great Britain, he's faced with 2 choices. Either inflict total military defeat on the guerrilla forces or negotiate with them, because he realizes this is not a massive crime wave he's fighting. No, this is a popular, organized movement for national liberation. And he's also feeling pressure from the United States because President Woodrow Wilson, who does not like American nationalists and refuses consistently to recognize the Irish Republic, despite those qualities, he wants this Irish issue solved. And Ireland also wants a desire for peace. Now, the IRA, although it's expanding in military strength, the 2 years of fighting brings to it severe losses in both manpower and equipment. In fact, at the time of the truce with the British government, Michael Collins later admits this. He admits that at the time of the truce, the IRA didn't even have 3 weeks left to hold off the British. They were that weak. So, they end up creating a truce with Great Britain, but it doesn't start out successfully. Basically, Lloyd George failed at first to establish peace because he refused to recognize the belligerent status of the IRA. He refuses to recognize the IRA as an organization, and he also wants it to surrender unconditionally before discussions even start, which the IRA refuses to do. And he does not want to negotiate with Michael Collins, whom he sees as a gangster. Now, around the end of 1920, Éamon de Valera comes back from the U.S., and this changes things because Lloyd George is willing to negotiate with Éamon. Why? Because de Valera is seen as a moderate Sinn Féin politician compared to the more left-wing Michael Collins. And he also has experience discussing and negotiating diplomatic matters. And the truce ends up being a moral victory for Ireland. Why? Because de Valera does not relinquish any of his political principles, and he's won the right for his government to negotiate with the British government. And so the truce is accepted very well by both the Irish and the British. So it's a solid and material victory in the eyes of Irish and British public opinion. And so the Government of Ireland Act is passed in December of 1920. And what this does is it sets up two parliaments. It sets up parliaments in Belfast and a parliament in Dublin. And why two parliaments? Because you have to remember, around the province of Ulster, there's still a huge number of Protestants and Unionists who are loyal to the British Crown. So they set up these two parliaments, and this is seen as basically the beginning of peace, the beginning of a truce. But it unfortunately complete peace is not established. But basically you have the Republicans who just see this as a form of home rule, and they do not like it. They see it as an insult. And basically, under the Act, Northern Ireland would be a province that consisted of 6 counties, and those were Derry, Down, Armagh, Fermanagh, Tyrone, and Antrim. And the remaining 26 counties would be part of Southern Ireland. And the Republicans do not like this. So during the next election, they end up winning 124 of 128 seats in Southern Ireland unopposed. And then they completely ignore the new parliament, and they use the mandate to set up the second Éire. So they set up their own government once more. So basically, as you can see, we're on the way to peace, but we haven't fully hit it yet. And we're on the way to some form of independence, but again, we haven't fully hit it yet. So that's it for this video. Please, thank you so much for following me. And if you like this video, please share it so we can continue to inform people about the rich history of Ireland and what makes its people so resilient. All right, have a good night.